everybody. Jeanne-Marie Penel here for another Q&A from our mentoring session from the Keep Cool and Carry On Discipline Challenge. Welcome, everybody. This is our last one. It is Saturday afternoon, excuse me, here in San Diego. Let me know where you're coming in from. Always love to know how
recording in progress.
Whoops, how international this little group is. And hold on. And yes, so thank you so much all for being here. As always, if you have a question, let me know. You can either put it in the chat or you can unmute yourself and just let me know where you are. So Eva from Texas. Thank you, Texas and the UK. Marietta is in the UK. Wonderful. And I am in California, in San Diego. So wonderful. And Cosette in China. Wonderful. So we do have 3 different continents. Pretty amazing. Wonderful. Love how this community is always so international. So as always, I kind of want to review just a little bit what the last kind of 6 tools that I shared this week. So by now you would have a total of 21 different tools. These are some of my favorites. There are many, many more. But it's to get you started and to, like I said, to challenge you to try different ways, because I think we oftentimes parent very unconsciously with how we were raised and what, comes to the surface without us intending to. And sometimes we don't always agree with that. So here is just a challenge to maybe try something different, right? So this is what the challenge has been all about, is to really share with you some different tools. So one of them was about this idea of really trying to find solutions together. And this is, if you were on the call, the last call, I talked about the different types of parenting. We have the permissive parent, the neglectful parent, the authoritarian one, and the authoritative, which is really this idea of having a collaborative household, right? To be able to find solutions together with our children. So this to me is very important. And this goes also along with this idea of asking curiosity questions, because when something comes up with our child, and there's maybe a behavior or something that we feel could be done better, then we really want to make sure that we find solutions together. So we can just ask simply like, how can we do this differently? So maybe you don't get upset, mom doesn't get upset, dad doesn't get upset, or that, we don't end up being so sad and mad at each other, or whatever the situation might be, but really about listening to them about solutions. And you will be surprised. I mean, it is amazing. And a tool that I didn't put in here, which is about family meetings. And this I talk a lot more in the parenting school. That is actually, I'll share a little bit more about that later on, but that is opening its doors up again today. I talk a lot about family meetings, about establishing family meetings. And these are regular meetings that we have with all of our family members to come up with good solutions, to come up with understanding what is going on, what are their needs, how can we do things better. So that is one of the, very important rule, is really finding solutions together. Just like, on the last call, I talked about creating routine charts together, having, this really the positive timeout together. It's always about this collaborative work that we are doing with our children. They know differently. And yes, what I wanted to share about the family meetings is very similar to the family meetings. I used to do classroom meetings when I was in a Montessori classroom with 25 3 to 6 year olds. And you would be surprised by just how just aware they are. And when, when I would ask them, well, what solutions do you have? What do you think we should do? They would come up with very reasonable, sometimes a little bit hard solutions. Like they're pretty stern with themselves. But it was just fascinating how we don't always need to be in charge and think that we need to come up with the solutions. Okay. The other one is about breaking down age appropriate steps. So this to me is very important in that we, and again, like the other tool about having these perceptions or expectations of our children, we need to remember that they're brand new to this planet, that we need to sometimes just slow things down and simplify things and break down tasks, right? If we want them maybe to set the table, well, let's show them how to carry a plate, a fragile plate without breaking it, for example. Let's break down the steps, right? Or maybe before that, it's going to be how to fold the napkins, right? Or where things go, so that we're breaking down the steps. And one of the things that I shared was about the acronym that I love to use, which is SHOW, which means slow hands, omit words, because that is very important in for them to be observing, right? They're watching our every move of what we're doing. And when we're babbling on and talking and sometimes over explaining, they get distracted and they're watching our mouth and not the action that we're actually doing. And I have an example here. For example, I have, oh, look at this. I have a little, it's actually a lip balm that's in a container. Let me show you how to open it. That's it. I didn't talk. I slowed my movements so that they can really see what is going on. So that is very important for any task that we want to show them. Uh, the other one was this notion of asking for help. Parenting was never meant to be done alone. And those of you who are on the call are doing just that. And I want you to also, reach out to people around you if you need physical help, if you need an extra hand here and there, or if you just need some time away sometimes from our children. It can be hard to not be afraid to ask for help. I think we've gotten into such a culture of this, prideful, that, oh no, I can do everything myself. But it's never meant to be that way, right? Parenting has always been done in community, in a village, and so forth, and we've kind of lost that. We are connected as we are today, but sometimes we need a physical presence too. So I really encourage you, if you check in with yourself and you go, oh my goodness, I really could use a girlfriend or a family member to come over and help me cook or clean or just fold laundry or just keep me company. Like, it's okay to ask for help, right? And I want to encourage you to be able to do that. The other one that I shared these last few days is to make time for special time. And this might seem like, oh my goodness, it's another thing on my to-do list. I don't have time, same thing sometimes with self-care. We just say we don't have time. But I promise you that if you are able to set aside some time, and it doesn't have to be a whole day, it can be, an hour, half an hour, whatever, but to be able, very intentional, to spend special time with one child at a time. This helps fill up their emotional bucket. And especially if it's planned ahead, if they know that they're going to have that special time with you, you can remind them, right? When they're having maybe a difficult moment in the day, you can remind them, oh, sweetie, I know you want to spend some time with me today. And remember, we are going to go to that special park, go to the zoo, whatever you've decided that special time is. And special time is really special time. It's not taking them on an errand with you, which can be special too, but I want it to be really intentional, that it's really something that they're excited about doing, right? About asking them, like, what would make you happy? to go explore. It could be going to a construction site and just looking at the big bulldozers doing their work, right? It doesn't have to be anything extravagant. It can be a walk in the forest, whatever you and your child have agreed upon. And this really helps fill up that emotional bucket. And I would also, if there is a parenting partner in your life, I would really encourage also to spend time, special time with them. We tend to put them aside at the beginning, and it's important to nurture that relationship along the way. So special time is very important. And I say non-negotiable. So put it on the calendar, like make it something that is important to you. And then, I did put take care of yourself, put on your oxygen mask first. And this one seems like, so cliche, I think sometimes because we hear it a lot, but it is so, so, so important in that we cannot care for other people if we do not take care of ourselves first, right? We are going to be exhausted. This week, I will be perfectly honest, I've had quite a difficult week. There are many loved ones around me that are not doing well, that are sick and so forth. And it's been really hard because I want to help everybody and I want to, be there for everybody. But I have to remember too that at some point I need to step away. And, I went for a walk on the beach yesterday because I just needed that. So it's important to take care of ourselves. It's important to every once in a while ask ourselves, what do I need right now? Right? Because we are always so preoccupied with the other ones in our lives, with our children, with our partners, with our friends, with our family members, that we tend to, fall away to the wayside. And it's very, very hard to care for others from an empty cup. So very, very important. And then the last one, my favorite, is hugs, 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 hugs. And even hugging yourself, sometimes that's what's going to make you feel good because you just need that, is so important. And this goes back to actually the very first one that I shared about connection, right? About needing to connect with our children or with our partners when something is gone astray. Before we try to correct the situation, we need to connect back with them. We need to help them, their brain, to connect back, because sometimes when we're upset, we're just offline and we're so distraught that we're no longer connected. So hugging is a very scientific way of calming ourselves, calming our loved ones. So offer hugs. And sometimes it is, kind of counterintuitive when you're upset about a certain situation, or, your child has just acted out and you're just like, oh my goodness. But sometimes that's all they need. So, be okay with sometimes just sitting on the ground and go, it looks like you really need a hug. Oh my gosh, are you okay? Do you need a hug? And they might say no, or push you away. And that's okay. You just say, oh, okay. Well, when you're ready, I'm right here to give you a hug because I love you no matter what. And that, I think, is so, so important, to be able to say that to our children in a very genuine and authentic way, so that no matter what their emotion are, they're okay, right? Because emotions are part of us being human. And whether we're feeling sad or angry or frustrated, we're still good people. And so if we can, remind our children that no matter what's going on, we love them and we are there to hug them. So that is the kind of the end of all these wonderful tools that I shared. And, if you, like I said, if you have any questions, please let me know. I want to share with you now, because I have some exciting news, that the parenting school, so this is kind of the next step to what I offer. This has been a free challenge all week long that has been wonderful. But some of you might want to go deeper. Some of you might want to have a better understanding of Montessori principles, of positive discipline principles. And so I have created the parenting school, and this is a 5-week course where I've prepared lessons, modules. So there's 5 modules. Every week you receive several videos that you get to watch at your leisure. And every week we have a call like this one, where I get to answer your questions, where we get to strategize together and so forth. And then there's also with that a what I call a virtual village, which is basically a Facebook group that is private, where you can come and share also what's going on, share some photos, ask me, especially for the home setup. Sometimes you just need a little bit of feedback. And in there, I also go live every once in a while to maybe share some, other information or answer your questions. So that is the parenting school. The on the full access page, you will have access to the button to enroll, and I'm also going to put it right here um, in the chat. How long will we have access to these videos? So the videos, the all access page, I will keep it up for another few days. The school opens on the 4th of March. So by then it will have come down. So basically, I guess another few days. We are Saturday, let's say until Wednesday. You will have access to all the videos. And then I hope you'll come join me in the parenting school. I know Marietta is an alum in the parenting school. She's already joined and has been part of the community, which has been wonderful. And so, yes, so I just want to share just a little bit more. And please let me know, any questions that you have. If you want to do the parenting school, there is a, one-time access. You will be getting an email from me where there is an early bird code. So early bird 30 to get 30% off because you have been amazing and on this challenge. So that will be in the email, or if you want to go right now, you can go and use that coupon code to have 30% off. I would also encourage you to let your friends and family know, because as you know, the bigger this village of conscientious, respectful parents are, the better we are off for all our children on this planet. So that is it. So the 5 modules that I have prepared for you in the parenting school, the first one is just about understanding our child, right? About child development and understanding this idea of, that they're unconscious learner and then they become conscious learner and all of the phases that they go through. Because I think as parents and as educators and caregivers, when we know this information, then we're better suited to help them and to guide them along. So that is understanding your child, which is the first module. Then we understanding development. So this again is about, fine motor, gross motor development, how they learn, what drives humans to learn, and just how to, have that cooperation with them, which is super important. Then we go into understanding our home environment, because the way that we set up our home for ourselves, but specifically for our children, can make a huge difference in their behavior. And I have my Montessori training that is really all about preparing the environment. And then I'm also a big advocate of simplifying things, of minimizing things. And I promise it makes a huge difference in our own behavior, in our child's behavior. So that is understanding your home environment. Then we go in depth of understanding positive discipline. So a lot of what I shared today, today and this whole week, we go way more in depth into positive discipline. And, our weekly calls, we get to strategize also what are some tools that are going to work in our home and how to really, make them work, right? To really put them to good use, because every family is different. And I feel that, we need to pay attention to that and strategize for our unique family. So I'm there to help you there. And then the last module is understanding your role, right? There's this uh, kind of saying in Montessori that we talk about being a prepared adult. And to me, it's really about being a prepared adult to be in the presence of divine little children, right? They are brand new to this planet. So if we can prepare ourselves to be in their presence and also to take good care of ourselves so that we can really help them and guide them along makes a huge difference. So those are the 5 modules. And like I said, there's the 5 modules. So you get one a week, videos that you receive, you get time. There is also a family guidebook that I've created with you. So every week you get new pages to add to it with, able to take your notes and strategize on how to, make everything work. And then we have these, what I call lifeline calls. We have these Zoom mentoring calls where you get to ask me all of your questions. And then also the virtual village. Plus, there's some bonuses in there where I've shared some videos of interviews I have done with child development leaders around the world and authors and so forth. So that is kind of my big announcement today. I'm super excited. The doors opened this morning. And I really do hope that you will continue being on these calls by joining the parenting school. So any questions going on? How are things going with you, Marietta? Now that you're back in England, are you still with your grandchildren or? Oh, wait. Are you able to unmute? Yes.
Yes, I have unmuted. Yes, I am with my granddaughter very often.
Oh, nice.
Yes, that sounds very nice. And as I think I mentioned to you, they are trilingual, so and that's very nice as well. And of course, Montessori and positive discipline is very important.
Yes, wonderful. Wonderful. And Cosette or Eva, any questions you might have, whether it's about the Keep Cool and Discipline Challenge or the parenting school? I'm here to answer them if you want to put them in the chat or just unmute yourself. Thank you both, all 3 of you, for having joined me, and all of you on the replay. Also, this week has just been amazing. I've gotten amazing feedback of how these have been really good. So Cosette says, yes, I do have 2 questions. So can you elaborate a little bit on nonviolent communication as an authoritative parent? Great question. So basically, non-violent communication is this idea, and this is my personal interpretation of it, right? Is that it's really about not pointing the finger, right? Because we tend to blame other people for what is going on. And so for me, nonviolent communication is really this idea of using I messages. I feel uncomfortable when you are climbing on the high structure, right? It's not, don't do that, or, get down from that. It's, I'm feeling uncomfortable. How can we make sure that you are safe? Or maybe when, for me, a big one when my children were small was I was really nervous in parking lots. You never, the children are small, people are backing up, some people drive a little bit too fast. So that was my fear. So I would just say I get really uncomfortable in parking lots, and it would make me feel a lot better if we could hold hands, right? And then if there was a refusal, it's not about you have to, it's my job is to keep you safe. And I need you to hold my hand. So that we're really putting the emphasis on us, and on these I messages, as opposed to really, being very authoritarian and saying you have to do it my way and such. So I'm sure there's a lot more to nonviolent communication, but in a nutshell, that's really for me this idea of really bringing it back to ourselves, right? To instead of blaming the children or blaming others or putting the fault on others, it's just, how am I feeling? That's all you have in control of, right? It's how am I feeling, and what do I need to feel better, and that my job is to keep you safe or healthy or whatever that might be. So I hope that helps, Cosette, in what you were asking. Following up to Cosette's first question, how can we respond when the child becomes aggressive towards us or a sibling? So that beautiful question, because that is, when I shared about being firm and kind, this is where you're firm, because that is a boundary that we need to respect. We don't hurt other people. That is something, in this house, in this home, in our family, we do not hurt each other. So I need to keep everybody safe, and I cannot let you hit your brother or your sister, or and there I think it's about really going to the child, getting down at their eye level. You might want to even, hold them and hold them, look at them in the eye and say, I cannot let you do that. I need to keep everybody safe, and this is not okay. So you're saying you're letting them know that you are in charge and that these are the boundaries. It's not about you can't hit your brother or you shouldn't hit your brother, because sometimes they'll look at you like, what are you talking about? I'm doing it, right? So it's really about, I am here to help you have this, self-control. And this is also for me a very opportune time to talk also about the positive timeout, right? The place where we can go kind of self-regulate. So observe, is there a time of day when this happens more? Are they hungry? Are they tired? What is going on? Is there too much noise around? Or, are you noticing that it's happening because there's certain things that are coming up, or maybe not, but at least there you can say, sometimes I see that you get very upset with your sibling, and I can't, I can't let you hurt anybody because my job is to keep everybody safe. But tell me, how are you feeling in your body before that? Like when you're starting to get upset, where in your body is your body telling you, oh, I'm going to get upset? Because this is where we get to help our children self-regulate, if we're able to help them understand that they have messages that are being sent to them, right? And so when you feel that way, then that's a great time to go to your, whatever they called it, your zone out place, your, la la land, whatever that positive timeout place that they called, because there you can take some deep breath and hug your teddy bear and listen to your quiet music and calm down, and maybe find a solution to, be able to tell your brother or your sister, what is upsetting you. So that is really about this idea of helping them self-regulate, because I don't think that they intentionally want to hurt or be mean. It's just that's all they know. That's like their form of communication. So it is our role to guide them and to help them develop that aspect of self-regulation and that will, so that they make better choices. So hopefully that helps, Ava. You're welcome. Cosette, my 2-year-old bites. I also understand she doesn't always know how to express disagreement or frustration. What do I tell the other siblings who got bitten? Yeah, that's a tough one. And unfortunately, some children are just biters, and that is part of this very frustrating time in their life. So imagine you are in a foreign country, you do not speak the language, but you know exactly what you want because you're really hungry or you really need to go to the bathroom or you need to get somewhere and you just, nobody understands you, right? So you just get so frustrated. And sometimes biting is just a form of frustration. So I say foreign country because it is oftentimes that pre-verbal child who has so much language and understanding in their brain, but they haven't yet developed the way to express and to share what is going on. And it's very frustrating. And so oftentimes it's just biting. It's, wanting to punch or push or all this because it is just that frustration that is just bubbling up. So for me there, it's very important to observe when that is happening, because again, it might be a certain time of day when there might be more tired than other times of day, maybe before a meal when, blood sugar is low. So kind of be on the lookout. Or is one of the sibling instigating and kind of, annoying, and then it kind of bubbles up and is frustrating? Be aware of that and really try to step in before it happens and say, oh, I can't let you do that. But if you want, you can give other things to bite if that is something like a need that they have, or to, even punch in a pillow, or to, do a funny dance and wiggle it out. Like they need to let their body express this frustration and really, sit with them and have them maybe show you what's going on, or try to explain, because sometimes when we say to a child, well, what's going on, tell me, they can't, and so that's even more frustrating. So it's really about, maybe trying to come up with different ideas that you think, but sometimes it's also good to just say, do you want to show me what's going on? Like maybe take me to someplace, show me what you need, what's going on. That will help them. But yeah, and to the child who is being bitten, I think we need to pay attention and maybe even involve the biter in saying, oh my goodness, are you okay? Are you hurt? Do you need some ice? So that we're paying attention to the child who was hurt, right away, and really, have that compassion so that the biter also sees that and experience that. And oftentimes they feel pretty bad because they know that it's not, it's not great. And then just explain also to the sibling that this is a way that younger children have, to communicate, and let's try to help our little, sister or brother, that we need to say other things. So the other siblings need to be taught to say, no, that is not okay. You cannot bite me, right? And really protect themselves, and so forth. So yeah, I it's a hard moment, but it will pass. We don't continue biting forever. But some children, do have more of it than others. Like there's in environments, there's always going to be a biter, and that's just, it's a conversation all the guides, teachers always have, is how to deal with the biters. But it is normal behavior, and we just need to be vigilant and help them. So wait, thank you. My 5-year-old instigates and gets my 2-year-old spitting or yelling. She sees it as funny, but it irritates my husband and I. So that is sometimes way to get attention, right? They are seeing that they are getting a pretty important reaction from you and your husband. So there, I think it's something to maybe have a good conversation altogether. This would be a great topic for a family meeting about, that in some cultures spitting is okay and others it is not. And in this house, spitting is not something that we do. And, your little brother or sister, they're learning. And if we teach them the wrong things, it's not okay. So how can we make sure that they don't do it? But also being vigilant to not like overreact, because sometimes, the 5-year-old it sounds like they're wanting attention by knowing that it irritates you and your husband, right? So it's a fine line of just saying, it's really disgusting and this is not okay in our house. And that we need to help your little sibling to not do it. And then your little, the younger one, because this is also, for me, sometimes it's just they're experimenting with what they're able to do, right? They're developing. So spitting is something that, we master. We need to spit when we're brushing our teeth, for example. And like I say, in some cultures, spitting is just fine. So how do we help the child to understand that you can spit in certain moments? So maybe let's just go practice spitting in the sink. Put some water in your mouth and spit it out so that we're getting better at brushing our teeth, right? So it doesn't become like this, horrible thing and we can't do it. Hope that makes sense. Cosette, how many persons can benefit from one enrollment to be in the parents? I'm thinking about family living together, husband. I think it's per household. So whoever lives in your household and are caregivers, you're more than welcome to watch it together or make sure that they also get advantage of it. I know for me, if also on the mentoring calls, if one caregiver can't make it, but another one can, I think it's always beneficial. All of the mentoring calls will also be recorded so that they will be on our secure website. So you can always go back also if another family member wants to watch it. That's great. But yes, no, definitely for me, it's all of the caregivers of that child. It's super important. So it is per family. Wonderful. So again, let me put that link in here. And there is a OnePay or TwoPay option that I created. And just like our family, Marietta, yes. And you can do pay in full or have two payments. The pay in full is $397, and that's for lifetime access. And then two payments of $199, remembering that when you use the coupon early bird 30, so early bird 30, you get 30% off of the pay in full. So you get 30% of the $397. So I hope that is all. If any more questions before I say till next time, know that these will be, all of these sessions will still be on our all access page. Cosette, I have had family members saying of the children, my son didn't used to do that. And so, but since they went to school, they learned this bad habit. How do I help? It frustrated me because I feel they are not being responsible. But maybe I'm so right about it. Could be. So, Eva, you say I posted a question. Oh, yes. I have heard, okay, let me answer Cosette's about, my son didn't used to do that, but since they went to school. So going to school, being in a social environment is definitely going to bring new behavior, right? It's part of being human. We can't, you know, keep our children completely bubble wrapped and in our homes always. So there will be, behavior that comes. But it's true that it can be frustrating if other parents kind of blame it on the situation, right? They still need to be authoritative and say, uh, this, I don't know where you learned to say this word or do this or do that, but in our house, in our family, that is not okay. And so that we can really understand and really also create a safe haven for ourselves and have our family values. So to be okay with telling children, some children or some families are okay doing this, and in our home we don't, so that we're really setting those boundaries, we're setting those values with our children. And this, I say this because oftentimes, especially with nowadays with the digital world, with screens, right? I have so many families, say, oh, but, if they don't, they'll be upset or whatever. But it's like, you're the parent, you're the adult, you get to make those choices and you get to set those boundaries. So you make those choices, first of all, with your pocketbook. So, if you don't buy the latest, greatest tablet, then you won't have that issue. So it's about really taking ownership of our values and so forth. So I hope that answers your question, Cosette, because I'm a little confused about I think your frustration comes from the parents are not being responsible for their children's actions. And sometimes that can be difficult too, where we're maybe, expecting differently from our friends or our, the parents of our children's friends. But we also have to realize that that's their choice too, and that if it becomes a problem, then you need to really, tell the parent, I don't know as if we're going to be able to, play together because there's, to this influence or whatever. Just the other day, I had a parent sharing about, their child going to a friend's house and coming back with just, very kind of bad language, and they had seen things on their digital devices that was, just not for their eyes, and it was very upsetting to the mom. And she just decided that, her child can't go to this person's house on their own for a while until that changes. So you've got to own like what your values are and let your child know, like, this is not something that we do in our home and so forth. I hope that made sense. Yes. Okay, so it does answer your question. Okay, so then Eva, I did not see this question, but it's great. I have heard about letting children solve problems among themselves, but is there a time we should step in other than if it becomes aggressive? No, no, I think children are very, very capable of, coming up with respectful solutions. So that's, to me, that is what you need to be vigilant with, is that it's respectful. It's not blaming or shaming or, hurting anybody. And that you can kind of monitor it, and maybe even what we say kind of sports casting is like, oh, I'm hearing you two try to come up with a solution about such and such situation. That's great that you're trying to find a solution. And that's it, right? So that they know that you're kind of tuned in. And but oftentimes I think we deprive our children from finding solutions and their relationship with their siblings or friends by always wanting to step in and thinking that, we know better. And I think it's if we can just observe and listen, and like I say, maybe sportscast a little bit, and maybe, at some point say, oh, I hear that you two came to a very, good solution. Or if you feel that it's not such a good solution, or it's maybe disrespectful or such, you can say, oh, that sounds a little, harsh to me and not very respectful. How do you think we could make it a little bit better? That's it. You're there more as a mediator and as a commentator than stepping in and solving situations for them. So hope that helps. I hope that helps, Eva. So wonderful. Yes. Oh, great. Okay. Wonderful. Great questions, you guys. This has been wonderful. And like I say, I do hope you join me for the parenting school, because this is what I, enjoy most is just kind of processing some of this with you, because like I say, parenting was never meant to be done alone. And sometimes we're so kind of wrapped up in our situation and thinking that, oh my goodness, I'm doing it all wrong, or my child is this or that, that it's nice to have the perspective of somebody else, and then the perspective of the village, which is, I like to, we should be parenting in community. So with our family members, but also with the outside community. So that is it for me today. And I hope that you all have a wonderful, wonderful weekend, the rest of your day, and go out and do some fun things and connect with your children. And I will see you around. All righty. Thank you so much, everybody. Bye-bye
Thank
for
you so
now.
very much. Thank
You're
you.
very welcome. Bye-bye, everybody, and hope to see you in the parenting school. Bye-bye.